Welcome again to Journeying with me through the scriptures. Back at it again. About to get through Psalm 139, verses 19 through 22. So, what does it really say in the text? Well, let's read it. It says, "Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, men of bloodshed, for they speak against you wickedly, and your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with utmost hatred. They have become my enemies, my enemigos." Couple of things here. I'm wondering, how did he get to the point where he hates what God hates, or he is actually expressing his real opinion, his real feeling regarding those people who rise up against God, regarding those people who speak evil against God? And well, how did he get to that point? How did he get to feeling like that way toward God? Now, have as we have seen in the text, how much he recognizes that the thoughts toward him are precious. So what we're seeing in this entire text is David's expression of love and gratitude toward God, his intimacy and closeness toward God. Do I have that same type of response to those people who rise up against God or speak wickedly against him? Not sure if I do, because I can be in that camp. And I don't think I'm meaning to be in that camp anyway. I think it's just our natural inclination since the fall is to be at enmity or have enmity with God or be at war with God, in rebellion with God. And so therefore my habits, my actions, my desires have already been skewed and turned toward in a way that is, in a sense, rising up against God. And no, not even in a sense, it is rising up against God. It is in rebellion against God. That is why Jesus had to come. But the language that David is talking about here is one that represents someone who has been offended, or who has taken offense because a loved one has been taken offense against. Is there a place for that? Most definitely. I think so. And that's what we're going to get into as far as the one thing. But before we get there, I would like to know, how, again, did David come to the point where he can be offended that somebody else, that God is being offended? Because we know that David has not been always a saint, but he is characterized as one after God's own heart. Maybe it was spending time while he was watching the cattle and the sheep, doing poems and or writing poems and singing songs to God. Maybe it was during the time he was on the run and all of these people came and started to follow him when Saul was coming against him. Or it could have been the time when he went up against Goliath. But to come to think about it, David was chosen to be a king before he even went up against Goliath, before he was on the run with Saul, or because of Saul. He was chosen because he had already had a trust and a love in God. He was already after his own heart before. That was the reason why God chose him to be a king. Anyway, what I'm saying is the love of God had to be cultivated. It had to grow, and it grew for David to a point where he hated the people that hated God, the people that were enemies of God. And we have a true representation of how he prayed. You know what I'm saying? He was like, slay the wicked, destroy them. They should not lie. They should not live. Those people who rose up against you, I'm gonna rise up against them. I got you. That's how he came at it, at the text. So look at the one thing. The one thing that I was able to find, or that I was able to think about in this text, was that, you know, there is a place for righteous indignation. There is a place for it in God's economy, in God's kingdom. Like, you can have a good hatred of things. So, what are the things that I hate, that God hates? What are the things that I love, that God hates? And what are the things that I love that God loves? How can I come to a point where I align myself like that? Anyway, this has been Apologetic. Sorry if I don't apologize. Y'all have a blessed day.